What's up, everyone, and welcome into episode number 478, where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a special guest joining this episode who's from Michigan but swims at Arizona State, Andy Dobrzanski. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for joining. I know that you're kind of getting to the point where probably school is right around the corner, so how's things been going over in Arizona?
It's been going really well. We actually start up like our captain's practices next week, actually, and then first day of school starts, and I think it was Thursday, and then we have our first practice starting up on that Saturday. So it's coming along really quickly, actually.
How weird is it going into your last year at Arizona State? Does it feel real or has it not hit you yet?
It's like I would describe it as kind of like bittersweet almost, in like in a sense, because like obviously I know it's my last year, and I want to do everything I can to get to my goals, as for my team and as for myself.
Yeah, which obviously makes sense. And you've been swimming for 15 plus years at this point. I
Mhm.
know you've been swimming at Arizona State. You're like a four-time Big 12 champ. You also won a few state championships in high school. It has to be a weird feeling going into your last quote unquote like team swimming season because I know that, and we'll talk a little bit about this later. I know that you're going to continue on swimming for hopefully the 2028 trials. But like, how are you feeling going into your last kind of season? I know you talked about some goals that you still want to achieve, but it has to be a little bit, like you said, bittersweet. But it also has to be a little bit of excitement, just knowing that hey, like let's do one last ride.
Oh, for sure. It kind of hit me a little bit today almost, because everybody's starting to get back to practicing and everything because they're coming home from seeing their families and stuff. So it was actually like I got excited when we were at the lift today because we're all lifting back in together, and like the energy just surrounding us is just so much more fun. So I'm just so happy that one more year, just having so much excitement.
And how does it feel to be that veteran kind of quote unquote? I don't want to say old guy, but kind of be the old guy part of the team.
Oh, I know. We've all actually have talked about it. Like we we personally can't realize that we're the top dogs on the team. You know, we're the old guys, we're the veterans, we're the guys that the freshmen come to if they need questions for guidance, whether that's in the pool or life or even for classes. We try to help out whatever we can.
Yeah, and it's probably a little bit easier now that you kind of have that experience. Then maybe when you were a freshman, you were probably walking into a situation that you probably knew a little bit about, but you're probably feeling the exact same thing that those freshmen are feeling now, kind of going into the season, just kind of getting used to obviously the college experience and what it's like to swim at Arizona State.
Yes, exactly. So I've had a few freshmen actually already reach out, just being like, "Hey, do you have any advice for first timers who just need help in the dorms, or like what do we need for dorms? What do we need for swimming? If we need equipment, stuff like that, or like even just life advice." They're like, "What's one thing as a freshman that you wished you did differently?" You know. So that I mean, it kind of hit me too because I was like, I wish I did that. Like, I wasn't as social my freshman year, so I was a very like self-centered kind of like I wouldn't really talk to many people. And second semester hit, and I was out of my shell most of the time. We were out at the guys' houses, out playing spike ball in the yard. I did a lot more stuff, so I was like, go explore. You have four
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, absolutely. And being a part of a college team, it kind of forces you to kind of get out of your shell a little bit. Like people,
Exactly.
obviously, people are going to be nice, but people are going to be like, okay, like you just can't sit at the corner. Like, come on, let's do
Yep.
this. Like, kind of like let's
Exactly.
be a part of the group.
Yeah, they kind of pushed me into that situation. So I'm so thankful for that. So we have a great team here.
Yeah, and it obviously made you better, made you more social as well. It is also helping you kind of be in that situation. Probably maybe not the necessarily like the situation that you thought you might eventually grow into, but now you're
Mhm.
obviously the one kind of being the veteran. It's probably a really great feeling knowing that you have freshmen there that are looking up to you and saying like, "Hey, like I need help," or "Hey, can you like bring me on?"
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because I did that. I reached out to so many of the upperclassmen for just swimming advice, even like handling nerves, stuff like that. And so now I can take what they gave to me and I can give that to them. So it's like 2 years ahead of me is going 2 years back of me, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And obviously, you've dealt with a lot of swimming. Like I said at the introduction, you've been swimming for 15 plus years, probably even longer than that. Like you've
Yeah,
probably been swimming most of your life. So you've experienced so much swimming. When you have had the opportunity to kind of like go back when you first started swimming, which you might not maybe have a ton of memories about that, but like how
sure.
did you know like you could swim and like how did you just kind of get involved in the sport?
So I originally I would say I started around 4 years old, just summer, as like any kid I would feel starts just doing summer club. Then it got into a little bit more serious, probably like 9 or 10, and then my parents were like, he's getting actually pretty good, so they kind of pushed me into a better club that had more resources to excel me, and then I didn't really start going, probably clicking until probably like 13, 14 years old, actually. I would say I was like a little bit of a late bloomer compared to everybody else.
Which is
But
interesting because everyone has like a different story. You see a lot of like college kind of swimmers seem like they start really early on, and some might click a little bit earlier. Some might be
mhm,
like those like state champions or like kind of like the best swimmer from right away. But that doesn't necessarily seem like it's exactly true for you. But like it was only a couple years after you really kind of started quote unquote taking it serious.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's perfectly how I would describe it. I probably was like in eighth grade where I was like, wow, I can actually probably swim in college and make it what I always wanted to dream of. I actually told my mom, like, oh, she says this too because she loves it. She's like, he used to tell me that he's going to go swim for Bob Bowman at Arizona State. Like that's who he wants to have as his coach. And it was funny enough when I think it was after sophomore year, when they can start contacting you. I was reached out by Herbie Bem and Logan Herka from ASU on the same day, and I was like, I think this is it.
So you
So
kind of knew, like you kind of talked it into existence that you're
yeah,
going to end up at Arizona State, and then turns out, guess what? Bob Bowman was at Arizona State for a few years
exactly.
as well. So you talked it into existence. I love that.
Yeah,
I know there's a basketball player at Michigan State, Jane Akins. There was like a little picture of him as a kid, and it's like, what do you want to be when you're growing up? And it was like a Michigan State basketball player, and obviously, like he ended up becoming that. And I
yeah.
think that would be obviously really cool if you had a picture like that. Maybe you do. I don't necessarily
I do
know,
not know.
but that's just unique where you're like, hey, I want to go here. I want to swim for Bob Bowman, and then guess what? You did.
Yeah, it's like the ambition that drives a lot of athletes, I would say, especially in even swimming and basketball, any sport really.
It's kind of like that dreaming big, like having kind of
Exactly.
those
Yeah.
goals. And a lot of the athletes I've had on, a lot of their goals are like, hey, I want to play my sport in college. Sometimes they kind of realize, like, hey, probably not D1, maybe more D2, D3,
Yeah.
because obviously, like, it's really difficult in its own right to just be a college athlete. I'm someone
It is.
that have had a lot of D2, D3, and AIA, and a bunch of different JUCO athletes. Like, it's difficult in its own right to get there, but also the D1 level is just completely different, it seems.
For sure. Like it's kind of hard for me to explain because I've never experienced like D2, D3, but I've like just heard from experience from my other friends who have gone, and they just when you're at D1, I would say the work ethic is just so much higher and just needs to be so pristine and like the little details. I would say that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, and also probably there's a little bit more of, I don't want to say stress, but a little bit more kind of like higher expectations.
Hmm.
And obviously, kind of depending on the person, like some people might thrive in that and other people might not. And I'm sure there's probably times at Arizona State that you're probably like loving life and you're like, this is the best. And then there's probably other times where you're like, do I even, I don't want to say, do I even know how to swim, but like, do I even like
Oh no,
deserve
for
to
sure.
be here
Yep.
probably?
I mean, I've been there. There's been times where I just get so burnt out where I'm just like, do I really have to get up this morning to go swim? Like stuff like that. But then you look at the bigger picture and you're like, I'm gonna be there with my friends and they're gonna be with me pushing all the way. And it's like if you don't go, you're letting your teammates down as well as yourself.
Yeah, and there's also like that accountability there. Like I'm
Hmm.
sure that probably your teammates. I'm sure if you don't go, especially maybe when you're younger in high school, I'm sure you probably heard from
Oh
it
yeah.
from the coaches. I'm sure it's probably not even an option at
Yeah,
Arizona
exactly.
State. I'm sure it's
Oh yeah.
probably doesn't go too well if you skip practice at Arizona State. Maybe you might be able to get away with it in high school, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming probably not D1.
No, no, not at all. They almost keep attendance, I would say. Like if you miss, you better have a good reason.
Yeah, yeah, no, which is completely understandable. But obviously, you talked about like it started clicking like 13, 14, right
Hmm.
before high school. Then in high school, you just started to take off. You end up winning a few state championships in high school, which obviously now gave you the opportunity to go at Arizona State that we talked about. How did it feel to win those few state championships that you did? Was it like the first one the most special? Was kind of like the second one? Did it kind of all feel the same? Because I'm sure as a state champion, like there's obviously like excitement to it, and probably every single one feels special in its own right.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, for me, I told went into my high school coach and I told him I was like, this is my goal. I am winning the 100 breaststroke all 4 years of my high school experience. And he was like, all right, done deal. I will get you to that goal. And so that's what I had. And I went in my freshman year. I was actually seated. This honestly, I would say freshman year was probably my sweetest one. I went in, I was seated first, and then we swam prelims, and then I was actually second going in. And you were allowed to pick your songs to walk out to, and I got a little cocky beforehand, and I was like, you know what, I got my song already picked out. It's gonna be this, and I got second, and I was like, now that's not gonna happen. So I was walking out, I was just like furious almost,
Yeah.
and got up on the block and I just went for it. And actually at the 75 or the 50, I think I was like fourth or fifth. And then it just clicked the last 25 and I looked up and I saw number one and it just that was the greatest feeling of
What
me.
was the walkout song?
Red Solo Cup by Toby Keith.
Was it really?
Yes,
I
I'll
was
always
not
remember that.
I was not expecting that
I
whatsoever.
know.
Usually you hear like some sort of like rap song or some super
Yeah,
popular
exactly. Yep.
song, but
That's what I was
you don't
expecting.
hear country at all.
No. And I was like,
How
really?
long
Just
was Red Solo Cup your walkout song? Did it last throughout high school? I'm assuming
yep.
it probably doesn't last. Does it last in college? Have you? Do you guys get walkout songs, right?
Yes, we do.
I'm assuming it's not Red Solo Cup though, probably
No,
anymore.
no. I've yet to
Hey,
hear that
maybe
being played again.
I was just going to say maybe this year for your last year you might have to pull it out
Oh,
again to maybe bring the magic back a little bit.
maybe that would be funny. Maybe at Big
What's the
12's
song now? What's the song now?
song now. Well, for I've always loved AC/DC, and funny enough, like Thunderstruck is kind of our school's like bread and butter. That's the song the
Okay,
football team works out to, and us. But I would say "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big AC/DC fan as well. Obviously, you being from Michigan, I'm sure that you probably know Michigan State runs out to Thunderstruck as
Hmm.
well. So, which Michigan doesn't, but they have Mr. Brightside though. So each team kind of has their own thing. But I think that's
Yeah.
pretty cool and unique that Arizona State also has Thunderstruck. I feel like it's one thing with sports that like fans and like teams think they're like there's the one song and that's it and that's their
Yeah, I
song
agree.
and then you find out it's not at all that way,
Yeah, for sure.
which is cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, but after obviously winning a couple of state championships in high school, you end up going 4 for 4, right, in 100 breast.
So this is the story that like kind of sucks. So going into my sophomore year, I think it was sophomore year. Our team was actually on record to score a state trophy. We were going to get top four,
Yeah.
and COVID happened.
Oh, yeah, COVID.
So we were literally shaving our heads in the locker room because that's what we do for every state meet. And our coach comes in and he goes, "Guys, I have terrible news." And he goes, "It's been cut. We're not going to swim it." And we were all devastated. I
Yeah.
mean, that was our best year yet for, I think it was like for 10 or so years for the men's side, at least at my high school. So it was kind of disappointing, but I was seated first that year. So that's how I mean, I'm still 4 for 4 technically because
Yeah.
I had the fastest time in the state. So, but that year, nobody was beating me for sure. I just had the confidence in myself.
Exactly, and I honestly like forget like how far COVID is back.
Oh, I
Like it's
know.
almost like it's like how long ago was COVID? It feels like so long ago, but then
It
it's
does.
like 5, 6, 7 years ago. So
I
sometimes
know.
I forget college athletes still went through COVID, especially swimmers. I know that
Yeah.
I think it was like the day of like travel, or maybe like the day before travel in Michigan for like the state meet that they canceled it, which I know a
Yeah.
ton of swimmers was, let's just say, pretty unhappy, to say
Oh,
it
we
the
were.
nicely.
Everywhere, everyone was. It was not pretty. But luckily for us, our school, we hosted like a little last meet for
That's
everybody because
awesome.
we're like we have to do something to because we're all tapered, we're all shaved. You
Yeah,
know, we didn't get that opportunity to go fast and see what we could have done, and we missed our medley relay. I think it was a 200 medley relay school record by I think it was 2/10. And we're like, are you kidding me? Because if we were in the atmosphere at state meet, we for sure would have gotten it, you know?
yeah, absolutely. I feel like again, kind of like the atmosphere. I feel like one of the things about swimming, maybe comparatively to like football, or basketball, I feel like a lot of people don't understand like the atmosphere of states and just kind of like walking out there. Like obviously, probably for a majority of your meets, maybe like a meet or two, like maybe you guys had a ton of fans that came up, but it's just a completely different feeling walking out, especially when you're in finals, especially when you're in a relay, especially when it's
Hmm.
by yourself. Like it's just a completely different
No, it
atmosphere.
is.
Obviously not like what it is like football or basketball, but still really cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, well, for our like dual meets, they weren't ever like super super big. We had a few fans in there, and then you would go to state meet and it's almost packed, you
Yeah.
know, and it's loud. So you just feed off of that atmosphere, in my opinion. And even now, like, because I went to Olympic trials, that was the craziest thing ever. I mean, I was just sitting in the stands and you could just feel the energy around everybody. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, because it's the first time ever being at a football stadium. It's in Indianapolis at the Indianapolis Colts Stadium,
Yeah.
and I know it's going back there next trials as well. I
Yes, it
believe I
is.
heard. So
I think so.
everything from what I saw on social media, it just seemed like it was like insane. Like I
Hmm.
obviously wasn't able to attend it. I've never been to a college swim meet, at least D1 level trial stuff like that. But everything I heard is just completely different than anything anyone's ever experienced in the crowd and as a swimmer.
Oh, it was. I mean, I would say I would compare it to NCAA's because NCAA's gets very, very loud, and you have to scream at each other behind the block almost to kind of listen to each other.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've had a ton of really great experience at the NCAAs. You won a national championship. We'll talk a little bit about that. That's probably one of the sweetest feelings in the world to win a team national championship. But you did mention about for your high school team, one of the things you did every year was like shave your head. Did you know
Mhm.
going into high school that you had to do that, or did you kind of like buy in, or it's just as a swimmer, it just feels like not every team does it, but it's just kind of a part of being a swimmer.
No, it kind of is. I would say almost every team probably does it. I mean, we all like to bleach our hairs during December for
Yeah.
our winter training. So I always do that. I knew that was going to happen. I was actually very excited. And then we I think I did know that I would have to shave my head. But for 2 of the years I didn't go like all the way down with like the razor. I just did like a
Okay.
buzz cut almost. Because I mean, going all the way down to bald level, it isn't that fun. Because
Yeah.
then your
No, I
head gets
bet.
all cut up.
Yeah. No, it's cool though. It's just kind of a part
It
of
is.
just what it's like being a swimmer. Obviously, there's that memories there as well. Obviously, you had a ton of memories in high school, but I really want to kind of get into college a little bit because
Hmm.
obviously you end up committing to Arizona State. We talked a little bit about how you kind of dreamed about it, how you kind of talked it into reality, but like what was the transition like from high school swimming to swimming at Arizona State? Because obviously you were one of the best, if not the best swimmer in Michigan for the event that you did. Obviously you're really talented, you're still really talented, but like it has to be different going from being one of the best swimmers in the state, being one of the best swimmers winning a state championship, to now at the D1 level as a freshman at Arizona State.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest difference is the personalization of each workout. So I came in, I was expecting, they told us that we were going to be put into groups, but we had in each group, it was also broken down into something else as well. So I was put in sprint group my freshman year, and they had sprinters like mid distance, and then you had the breaststrokers. So within that one group as well, it broke down to three. So it was very personalized. Each coach knew what little things had to be done. It was a lot of detail work for me. I've actually changed my stroke almost every year now because I've had a different coach each year. And even in the weight room, because I've never really done Olympic lifts, that was a big change for us, especially for me at least. Because I came in there and it was required for all freshmen, which I agree with this completely because I think everybody should get on the same level of form and what's expected, you
Yeah,
know. And so I wasn't expecting that, and it got me very sore very quickly. But it was a lot of fun.
I was just gonna say like everyone has to get to like a certain level. They obviously want to make sure that you have the correct form because if you don't have the correct form, especially when it comes to lifting, you're obviously more likely to get hurt. You're going to if you do
Oh
get
yeah,
hurt, you're gonna have not the time in the pool, which obviously if you're not in the pool, you're not getting better. If you're not getting better, there's everything just going on. Like it all kind of builds on each other, and that
yeah,
seems like it's something that you learned pretty early on.
yep. And then on top of that, we have trainers as well. So any sort of little injury, if any like little tweak in your shoulder or in your knee, for me sometimes, you're able to just go in, get an appointment, and then they take care of you as long as you need it.
It has to be really nice, obviously, having kind of the help, like the
It
people
really
there,
is.
kind of the amenities that you have. Just knowing that, like, hey, like if something doesn't feel right, like you obviously have coaches that support you, but you also have trainers that are there to make sure that everything is okay.
Yeah, precisely. I agree.
Which obviously that's a different feeling probably because
Oh,
before Arizona State, you're probably like if you felt something was off, depending on kind of the person that you are, some people might say something, some people might
hmm,
not say anything at all, and they might go a little bit slower. But if you're better than everyone else, a little bit slower is still going to be faster than everyone else. So it's just
yeah.
it's obviously nice having those people there to help you. And I don't know what kind of person exactly you were, but like there's some people that won't say anything if they're feeling off.
Yeah, in high school, I rarely ever said anything just because like if I say something, I know coach is gonna be like, all right, maybe do half or do this. And I always hated it because I'm like, well, I'm not getting better, you know? But at the grand scheme of things, now at this level, it's like you could almost make yourself worse if you push through it. So,
Yeah.
especially like just anything like back related, I go right away to the trainers, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, because being part of breaststroke, like that's just a big part of it. Is your
Mhm.
legs, is your lower body. Obviously, shoulders as well. Seems like it's a typical kind of injury for a lot of swimmers as well.
Yeah.
So
Plenty
if
of
everything's
shoulder
not
injuries here
aligned,
too.
yeah, if everything's not aligned, like it's just not going to go well. And also, breaststroke in itself, it seems like it's one of the most disqualified swim strokes, especially at the Olympics. I know that I talked with this a little bit about with the Magdalene trio about like breaststroke, and they're like, why is breaststroke so disqualifying in the trials? But they just went into detail on like more dolphin kicks or something like
Yep.
that. Like it's just so detailed that I feel like it's more detailed than any other stroke in swimming.
Yeah, I actually got disqualified at our last nationals for saying I did a dolphin kick almost into the wall because sometimes I finish on just like a stroke and I won't do a kick completely. So they said that my feet kind of went like this almost into the wall. But I mean, it happens. So
Yeah. And also with cameras now as well. I know at
that too.
trials, like it's so much more kind of like going into swimming than maybe what it was prior. Like I feel like cameras really weren't a thing, but now like you with cameras, like you were saying earlier, where basically every single year you're kind of doing a little bit, changing a little bit of your stroke.
Yeah.
Like that's part of kind of like the evolution of swimming. Like I'm sure that you probably sit down with your coaches, you probably sit down with yourself, you probably have a TV right there that are
Yep.
nitpicking every little thing. And if your coach is like, okay, let's change this, obviously you have to adapt to it, but also it probably has to be difficult because you've been swimming one way, doing the stroke one way, and then the
Yes.
next year they're changing your form. Like, is that difficult? Is it easier than people might think? Is it really that big of a change, or is it small little things here and there that makes it not as bad?
On some things for me, I'm able to pretty adapt. I would say pretty good now. But my freshman year, there was a lot of different things changing. They changed my the way I was pulling because I put my arms all, like very far back, so they
Okay.
brought that forward a little bit more. That was like a big habit that I had to break, and it was not fun trying to do that because
No,
it's
I
constant
I bet.
reminders.
Yeah, and film.
Yeah, exactly.
And that had to be difficult in itself because one, you're again still kind of transitioning, kind of getting used to obviously the
Hmm.
yards, kind of like the practices are like, but also you've won state championships because of that. Like, was it a little bit of kind of in your head, like you're like, I don't necessarily know, like I know my stroke is good, I know it works. Was it kind of a little bit hard? I don't want to say you ever like push back a little bit, or were you kind of just like, hey, like these are my coaches, they know correctly. Like if I don't, they're just going to continue to hammer me over and over and over until I actually get it right.
Yeah. No, I actually everything that they were telling me, like it made sense. So I actually came in and I was like, do I not know how to swim breaststroke like correctly now or what? But because like every single day I learned something new and I was like, oh, that does make sense. Like push like connecting your core into swimming and like contracting it. And I was like, oh, well, I've never used my abs before during breaststroke. And I tried it and I was like, that's completely different, you know?
Yeah, and it's probably so much easier as well, kind of having everything involved,
Hmm.
not maybe specifying on specific muscles. Because if you do, then again, you talked about getting sore, you talked about kind of lifting. I'm sure the physical toll that you take at Arizona State is probably a different physical toll than what you took at high school. Like, obviously, swimming is swimming, but like, there's a different type of intensity when it comes to
Yes.
college swimming than when it was prior to college.
Yeah. So like we'll swim to like fast stuff, just like constantly, and you're just breaking down your body into just exhaustion almost, and just to see where you can go. So the intensity on that is a very big part in changing when it goes to from high school into your college career.
How difficult mentally is that? Like pushing yourself until complete exhaustion, seeing what you want and how far you can go. Because I feel like one thing about that is that people don't realize how far they actually can go till they finally get past that point and realize, hey, maybe I can go a little bit further. But it's all like a mental game, right? Like if you don't mentally believe you can do that, if you're mentally saying like, hey, I'm done, like you're not going to be able to continue to go forward. But if you have that mentality of just continuing to push, of continuing to get better, of continuing to get to that point of failure, but just keep going, I feel like that's kind of probably the switch that happens, and maybe the switch that happened for you when you got to Arizona State.
Yeah, I would say the I've really gotten better at that this year, especially with Salo as my new coach. He's always honest and being like, "All right, guys, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but that's where your greatest gains are. You're teaching your brain. Your brain is your biggest weapon, basically. Like if you can teach it to be like, no, I can go further, because technically your brain's going to tell you, no, you can't, because it's trying to survive, you know.
Yeah.
But you can push your body past its limits so much further than you originally can think. So I'm I got a lot better at it this year. My first 2 years, I kind of was just pushed back a little bit, but I really grew on that this year, I would say.
Yeah, and you probably have seen a little bit of a difference in that. Maybe you can go a little bit faster. Maybe you can go a little bit harder. Maybe you can maybe not get as exhausted. Like I'm sure there's probably some sets that you've done that you look
Oh
back
yeah.
on and you're like, how in the world did you do that? Like how did I survive that? Like if you had to say one set, it could be Arizona State, could be prior to that. If you had to say one set that you have swam, what's one set that you will never forget? Like you knew it was just so difficult. Like getting out of that pool was extremely difficult. Maybe walking wasn't necessarily in a straight line.
Oh
Like
yeah.
maybe you were just completely dead by that point.
No, I got just that. We it was a suit up set, so we put on a tech suit and it was 650s best average. This is I think it was freshman year summer or sophomore year summer. Okay, it was freshman year summer. Um, it was long course, 650s, and it was minute, 50, 40, 30 was the intervals. So I went in, my first one was a 29 high, and the other breaststroker next to me was probably like a 30.5, 30.6, and I was like, I don't know, I feel good, so I'm just gonna go for it, and I'm going for it. The next one I go like a 29 mid as well, and I'm like, okay, so I got it, and my next one was like a 30, and then next one was a 32, went down to 34, and my last one hurt so bad, and I hit a 36, and that's probably the hardest I've ever pushed myself. My legs were cramping so bad that I couldn't finish my kick completely, but I grew so much on that set.
So obviously, when you suit up, are you expecting it to be a little bit more of a harder practice, or are you expecting it to be a little bit more on the easy side? Obviously, it's probably different depending on the day, different depending on the set. But like obviously, when you suit up, you're trying to go as fast as possible. Like you're trying to basically, like it's like a meet like
Yes,
situation for the most part.
basically just to mimic the feeling of a race. So for us, when we train like a 200 pace, we'll do sprints of like 75, and then we'll do like 125s and stuff, long course. But for short course, we do a lot of just 50 work, a lot of pace. When you're doing suit up sets, I would say it's pretty hard
Okay.
because if you're trying to do a suit up set with just a brief, I would say it's just brutal. on your body. You can't
So
push yourself.
so not every suit up set is a tech suit then, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay. That's
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes when we have like it would be a suit up set, and they're like, "All right, we're doing a set, but not suited," and we just like look at each other like, "Oh, this is gonna hurt,"
yeah.
and and it does.
Yeah, no, I bet. And I was actually just going to ask you about like what percentage is a suit up set, what percentage is not, because obviously with tech suits, for anyone that knows, they're obviously like insanely expensive. But
Yes, they are.
obviously, being a D1 swimmer, you might get a little bit help with that. Probably old tech suits that you don't use in meets anymore, probably used for practice. But it seems like it's kind of like a mix, maybe not as much, but it's probably like I would assume a mix, especially at Arizona State, because I feel like for a lot of you guys' meets, it's probably a lot of tech suits for the most part.
Yeah, for us, we're ASU is really known for suiting up every dual meet, just to mimic suiting up, shaving, so that when you get to the bigger meets, like the stress level of like, oh, I didn't do this, didn't do that, like it's already there.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say we suit up probably almost 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
Um, so we'll do a double Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you'll have singles Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday with a lift afterwards. So on those days, we'll do Wednesday afternoons fast, Friday afternoon fast, and then you go into Saturday fast as well. So that when you're doing a Friday to a Saturday, it's kind of mimicking NCAA format
Yeah.
because your body's
So
tired.
yeah, absolutely. And it seems like really the only quote unquote off day you get are Sundays for the most part.
Yeah, we have our recovery day is Thursday. That's
Okay.
when we kind of like flush our body a little bit, so to get ready for what's coming up fast.
Yeah, and then obviously getting ready for a meet, stuff like that, that typically happens. It feels like mostly on weekends, but you also talk about having two practices a day. Like that has to be so brutal. Like I know being a part of a team like swimming, like obviously you have to go to practice early, you have to jump in a freezing cold pool, but then you also have to do it a little bit later. Obviously, it's just kind of a part of being a swimmer, but like it's probably never something that you get used to for the most part.
Yeah. For it's funny because like in December, January, you'll be wearing pants, sweatshirt, maybe a hat sometimes because it's cold in the mornings, and then you'll come to afternoon practice and you'll be wearing shorts and like a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, you know
So,
what? I would love if the weather here was like that because the
oh
weather in Michigan, obviously you're used to it. You're from here. It's nothing like Arizona, so I
no,
would prefer Arizona weather a little bit at this point.
yeah, I don't miss the Michigan weather. I will say that.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so, obviously, because you get to spend all your time outside in a pool when it's
Yeah.
nice and probably sunny. Obviously, in December, it's still a little bit cold in the morning, but I would prefer that than probably having to swim inside for 95% of the year.
Oh yeah. Yep. I would say it's probably almost sunny. I would say 30 out of the 365 days of the year, probably. Probably a handful.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, it is. I will say that.
Yeah, but you talked a little. You mentioned a little bit about kind of your schedule, like having basically practice every single day besides Sunday, having a
Hmm.
recovery day, having some days that you have two practices, some days you have one practice. But like outside of that, like what's life like as a D1 swimmer at Arizona State? Just talk about kind of like your daily grind, not only like school, but like if you had like a one day, like let's say like what does a Monday like look for you
Monday.
typically? Yeah.
Monday. Let's see. Monday we have AM practice from 6 to about 7:30, and that's usually like a power day. And then we'll do buckets probably that day usually, and then we'll go home. I make myself some breakfast. It's usually about 1,000 calorie breakfast. I try to get that. Um, and then usually a nap after that. And then I'll go to class. Sometimes I'll have 1 or 2 classes on Mondays, which having two will not be fun.
Yeah, I
But
bet.
yeah. And then actually last semester, so I had to come in between noon to 2. And because I had a class conflict
Okay.
and I couldn't swim with the normal time, 2 to 4 with everybody else. So I did that. Then I went to class, and then I had another class after that. And then I was finally to go home and eat some dinner, have some downtime, play some video games with my friends. But and then you'll go to bed at like 9 or 10, and then get ready for tomorrow.
Basically, it's like a full time job
It
from
is.
start in the morning to when you go to bed. I know you said you get to play some video games, which is obviously like you still have fun. You still like, get to hang out with the guys. You still get to hang out with the girls. Like you still have practice, but like there's probably some practices where it's like fun where you're chatting with people, and then there's probably other
Hmm.
practices where you're just sitting in that lane line and just like can we get this over with? This is not fun anymore.
Yeah, there's a few days like that, but it's very rare, I would say, just because how much fun we have doing it together.
Yeah, and it's almost kind of like everyone's going through the same exact thing. And I don't
Yeah.
want to say like it's like good, but like everyone's kind of having fun through the difficult times, and like everyone's kind of like cheering on for each other, even
Yep.
though like they're going through the same thing, they're going through the hurt. It's almost kind of
Yeah,
like the like energy kind of like goes up a little bit because
it
everyone's going
does.
through the same thing, everyone's experiencing the same thing. That no one wants to kind of be that person that is like
The
just
Debbie Downer.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like let's get excited for to continue to do this, and this just continues to suck, but just continues to go.
Yeah. I would say having one person to bring down the mood will affect the group more than everybody being happy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
no, it makes complete sense. It's about just again making sure you're there for everyone, making sure that
Yeah.
again, kind of like to the beginning of the conversation that we talked about, supporting each other in practice, supporting each other outside of the practice, because there's
Hmm.
still class, there's still practices, there's still expectations, there's still the physical toll, the mental toll. Like that's why I think college athletics in itself is so unique, is that it really forces everyone, maybe not everyone, because you might not necessarily quote unquote get along with everyone because there's obviously different personalities.
Yeah.
But like it really like forces everyone to get so close and really forces people to become best friends with each other. And I'm sure you probably have some guys and girls on the swim team
Oh,
that you
yes.
want to probably be best friends for the rest of your life. Maybe some people in your wedding someday, probably
Yeah.
people that are
For
going to
sure.
keep in contact with. And I think that's just the cool thing about just sports in itself is that, but also is the memories that you have through it.
I totally agree 100% with that. I mean, I've made so many best friends. I mean, I keep in touch with people who've been retired, who's done swimming, who graduated even. So it's we all keep in touch, which is so nice.
So you did mention that you keep in contact with quote unquote retired swimmers. What is that like talking to like the retired swimmers? Are they enjoying life a little bit? Do they miss the swimming part of it? Do they kind of wish they were where you are right now? Like, what's that kind of conversation like, or does it really depend on who you're talking to?
I would say it depends on each person. I mean, a few of them will be like, "Oh, thank God I'm done." Like they
Yeah,
wanted to be done a while ago, but they just persevere through it. And then others are like, "No, I'm still like some people are still swimming to the day."
yeah,
One of them comes in during our open swim times, and he's still swimming, which is awesome to see. We catch up a lot.
that's awesome. Which one do you think, if you had to make a prediction right now, which side are you going to be when you finally retire?
I don't know. I hope I'm staying in the water, but we'll see. Time always takes its toll.
Yeah, and obviously, like you've been doing it for as long as you have been, it's almost like if you don't do it, like when
Hmm.
have I haven't done it, but at the same time I've been doing it for so long, like let's just take a little bit of a break. So I can obviously see both sides to that.
Yeah. I'll probably take probably a few years off and then I'll be like, I need to get back in the water. Like I miss it.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's obviously in the future. We'll talk a little bit kind of about the future after Arizona State here shortly. But you've accomplished a ton of things at Arizona State, including, like I mentioned earlier, a national championship. You've also been an All American multiple times. Like, how cool is it getting to experience stuff like that? Experiencing a national championship. Just kind of like talk about what is it like to be a national champion at the D1 level, because national champions at the D1 level, that's like point zero. I don't know the exact percentage,
Yeah, I
but
don't
that's
know
like
either.
0.001%. Like, so few people ever win a national championship at any level,
Hmm.
especially Division One.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget where it was. It was at Indianapolis, obviously, and I love that pool to this day because I've swum there since I was like a little kid. We'd have meets there all the time, and for me to win a national championship with my team at that pool, especially, it also made it so much sweeter. And jumping into that diving well at the very end of the meet with everybody, it brought chills to everybody that like we did it. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, we knew it that season that we could do it, and we all persevered through it, through so much, and it was. I will never forget that feeling to this day.
I was just gonna say you probably got chills. You probably still might get a little bit of chills just thinking back, talking
Yep.
about it as well.
No, I did.
Do, I know, obviously, for a lot of national champions, they usually get rings. I know for All Americans,
Mhm.
sometimes, especially in swimming, they get like trophies. Did you get those for both All Americans and a national championship?
We just got NCAA rings.
Do you
Those
know
came up
exactly
very
where it
late.
is now? Do you know
Right
which
now,
ring?
it's on my desk at home.
Okay, I was just gonna
If
say
I
at
had it,
least
I
you.
would show it.
I was just gonna say at least you know where it is, because
Oh yes.
I feel like if you ever lost, that's like the most, I don't want to say disappointing thing, but
Oh
like you
no, it
never
would
want to
be.
lose that, right?
No, that's being on display, if not putting it in a safe, so I know exactly where it is at all times.
So after you won it, how often did you wear it? Like, did you wear it at all, or was it more of like, let's just put it away in this back so we never lose this?
We bring it out for events a lot.
Okay,
A lot of like team events. We'll wear those because we also have two. Do we have two? We'll be having two Big 12s and Pac-12 rings.
okay.
Um, yeah. So we wear those out to a lot of the fundraiser stuff that our team puts on. Even events when we get like recognized, we'll wear those out. But never to
That's cool.
parties or anything or out in public.
I was just gonna say probably wouldn't wear them to parties.
No, no.
I've heard things about Arizona State parties. I heard they're pretty crazy. I've heard pretty interesting things about Arizona
It can
State.
be.
It's a pretty big party school from everything I've heard. So
Yes.
probably want to keep that to itself.
Yeah. But actually the police down here have been keeping it down on how many parties are getting out. They actually have been a
Interesting.
good job. Yeah, it's been
Good.
interesting past couple 2 years, I would say.
Yeah, because obviously from like Arizona State just seems like one of those schools that like everyone knows is kind of
Yeah.
a party school, but also at the same time, you also have obviously the football team having an extremely good year last
Oh
year.
yeah.
Obviously, you guys are really good at swimming. Like Arizona State athletics are on the rise, honestly, and it's really cool to see.
They are. It's actually so cool to be in college at the same time that multiple sports are getting good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
And also, as an athlete yourself, you probably know other athletes on the football team, on the basketball
mhm.
team. You probably know different people from all over the athletic teams at Arizona State. Hopefully, you obviously probably support each other. I'm sure there's
We
probably
do.
some cool things that you guys get. I know that Michigan State gets some amenities. I'm sure that you guys probably get some amenities as well. And obviously, it's just kind of a part of what it's like being a college student, but also being an athlete as well with those benefits too.
It is. I mean, we went to the volleyball game last year, and we put on we wore our speedos because it was they were playing against U of A, which is our rivals.
Okay.
Just trying to just be funny, throw them off their game, and I think we won that game too, which
Hey, you know
was
what?
fun.
You helped win the game, in my
Exactly. Yeah,
opinion.
we were distracting them. They were
Was
probably like,
that the
"What?
first
Who's
time you
that?"
guys have ever? Is that the first time you guys have ever done that, or do you guys do that for a game or two, like every year?
I supposedly they used to, so we're bringing that tradition back of going to other sports as events, and then volleyball actually came to our meet as well. So we all
Oh, that's
support each
awesome.
other, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to support each other. You want to be able to do stuff like that. I've seen like other teams I've had. Oakland
Hmm.
does something like that for basketball. Obviously, ESPN every time a swim team does that, it's always big news in ESPN. Like
Yep.
there's always like the video, and there are people like, why in the world are you doing that? Well, guess
Yeah.
what? It's just fun, right?
It is fun.
But also speaking of fun and speaking about winning a national championship, you also got to visit the White House. How was
Yeah,
that?
we did. I mean, that was really cool. I've never been because most people go like when they're like in eighth grade or something when they're in
Yeah.
middle school. I never went. So that was my first time being there, and we got to walk through the White House, and that was insane. Took a lot of pictures, a lot of artwork in there. It's just very pretty.
And you also got to be on the White House lawn, I believe, front
Yeah.
lawn as well, which I know a lot of people don't get the opportunity. And obviously, like the president talks, all that kind of stuff. So that had to be such a surreal moment for you, not only winning a national championship, but being a part of that as well.
Yes. Because we were there, they had all Division One sports was like there. So Division One rowing was there. That was cool to see them because it's we all are like very similar people in like work ethic and like this and that. So we kind of like all get along pretty well.
Yeah.
So
So obviously you swim, but you talked about all the D1 sports were there. If you weren't swimming, what's another sport that you think you could play Division One?
play Division One. Oh
Yeah,
no,
Division One.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably none. Probably none. To be honest.
None.
I mean,
Basketball, soccer, football,
I
nothing.
would love to play football.
Football.
I've always wanted to do that, but I was always too skinny growing up, so I was like, no, I'll
I,
stick to
I was just
swimming.
gonna say we should get a collab with the ASU swim team and a collab with the ASU football team.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because I know obviously the ASU head football coach, he just seems like such a good guy, and it seems like he kind of like
Yes,
understands, especially because I think he was a former walk on. I believe he's kind of a part of sports media a lot, and I know a lot of at least people seem to really like him. So maybe we
yeah.
should get a collab with the swim team and the football team. You know how fun that would be to get the
Oh, it
football
would be.
team in the pool.
Oh goodness, that'd be funny. I mean, them swimming laps, and then we'll go run the bleachers.
There you go. Who do you think would be better? Do you think the football team would be better in the pool, or do you think you guys would be better at running the stadium?
I feel like we would be better at running the stadium. I mean, they'll probably be like, no, we can definitely swim if they see this video, probably.
Oh, probably. But it's
Oh
one of
yeah,
those things. Like a lot of swimmers, they don't run because they're a swimmer because they don't run. They don't like to run. So I feel
yeah,
like I don't want to say there's that stigma between about swimmers, but it's like they swim because they can't run or they don't want to run.
yeah.
So that's why I asked that question.
Yep. I mean, I ran track my senior year of high school, so I'm not a
Okay,
bad runner, but I
you're
enjoy
better in
it.
the pool.
Yes, it's a good way to say it.
No, that's awesome though. But obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I do want to talk a little bit about after Arizona State. I know you obviously have some goals. I know we're kind of running on time here shortly, so I do want to ask you, like, what are some goals you still want to achieve at Arizona State, and then we can kind of get into after Arizona State 2028 Olympics.
At Arizona State, I mean, this year we want to be top three, obviously. I mean, winning it is what we ultimately want to do. And I think this year we have the team to do it. On paper, we're very, very good this year. And our depth is probably I would say just as good as the time that we won it, my sophomore year. So I'm excited for that. My individual goals, I am looking to, um, I don't want to put it out there just because I don't
Yeah,
want to jinx myself,
but
but
I think we all
they're high.
understand what
Yes,
you want to be. We're just not going to say it, right?
exactly.
Yeah, which obviously is a great goal to have, right? That team goal, that individual goal. I
Yes,
obviously hope you achieve it. Like I will be a fan of you. I'll be watching, kind of
I
keeping
appreciate
an
it.
eye on you. So obviously, I hope you achieve it. But you also have I don't want to say bigger goals, but in the future you have pretty big goals as well. And that's the 2028 Olympics, which is coming to the U.S., which obviously has to be exciting in itself. But you also got to experience the trials as
Hmm.
well. You talked about just how cool, how unique, just kind of like the atmosphere it was there. What are you looking most forward to kind of like prepare for 2028? Because that's a couple years away. You'll be kind of a couple years out of college. You'll be able to spend full time swimming for the most part. You've already been to trials. Like I'm sure just swimming with some of the best swimmers in the entire, not only country, some of the best swimmers in the entire world, because the U.S. obviously dominates the Olympics. Like we
Oh
get the
yes.
most gold medals every single year. You
Hmm.
have people like Caleb Dressel. You have people like Katie Ledecky. Like, is it intimidating when you see those guys and girls, like those like really like top of the top swimmers? Or obviously because you kind of face those swimmers every single day, is it really not like that awe-inspiring? Like, oh hey, like that's Katie Ledecky. Hey, that's Caleb Dressel, or so on and so forth.
I was like that way when I was a freshman, but I would say just because of the pros that trained with us, so I've kind of almost grown accustomed to it. But I will say when Caleb Dressel jumped in my lane, because we were warming up at Olympic trials and he jumped in like right next to me, and I was like, wait, was that who I thought it was?
Yeah,
I
because you
almost like,
trained with Liana as well at Arizona State
yes,
for a year.
yes, he's a
Which
great guy.
obviously he's the, in my opinion, probably the best swimmer, at least for what he does in the world.
Oh yes, yes, he is. He's so talented.
We all saw that at the Olympics in France.
Oh yeah,
He was really good, and I'm sure obviously he's just a different type of swimmer every single day, probably.
oh yeah. He can come in and just lights out.
Yeah, which is insane. And I feel like that's another thing about swimming that I've talked with other swimmers about is like you can spend so much time, you can spend so many years swimming, but there's just a difference when it comes to being a D1 swimmer than the D2 swimmer. Like sometimes you
Mhm.
can spend as much time as you want, like you can be in the pool for 15 plus years, but it just takes a different person, just takes like a different, I don't want to say feel, but like it's just different. Like I
Yeah,
feel like if you're a D1 swimmer, I don't want to say you're kind of born a D1 swimmer, but like you're kind of like it's just different. I
it
don't
kind
really
of
know how
clicks a
you
little
put
bit.
it.
I don't know. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah,
I,
no, it's
I
just
I
like
personally don't know
how
how
do you
to.
put it into words? But it's almost like there's something there that's just different. Like obviously you still have to put in the time, you still have to put in the effort, like you've
Yeah,
done it, but like it's just different. But obviously that doesn't make anything wrong about being a
no,
D2, D3
there
swimmer.
isn't.
Like being a college athlete in itself is incredibly hard, and everyone, in my opinion, that is a college athlete should be praised for it.
Yes, I mean my sister swam division. I think it was Division 2, and there's nothing wrong with that. I
Yeah,
mean, I was proud of her for everything that she did.
yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you get to still kind of do that for the next couple of years, do that for this year, but just kind of like looking back on your career, what has swimming done for you for your life? And what's just kind of been the biggest takeaway of it all? Because you said you started at 4 years old, and you're probably, I'm assuming, in your 20s at this point. You've probably been doing it for, like I said, 15, 16, 17 years. For a lot of your life, it's probably
Yeah.
all that you have known. I'm not saying you're only a swimmer. I'm not saying you're doing everything except swimming. You don't do
Yes,
anything else. But, like, you don't know what life's like without swimming.
I totally agree with that. But even in, I would say the biggest takeaway that I've taken from swimming is how you do, however you want to do it to perfection, you know? So whether that's in the school with the class project, this and that. I mean, I had an internship job this summer and they were impressed by my work ethic. And they were like, you've worked incredibly hard this year. And they were excited for me because of that. And I feel like swimming, not even swimming in general, I would say sports in general gives people so much more perspective of ambition of what you want to accomplish, you know.
Yeah.
I would say that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because obviously, like, you put so much time in, you kind of understand, like, what hard work takes. Like,
Yes.
obviously, there's stuff that you can take from athletics, you can take from swimming and still apply it to life, like life lessons,
100%.
like just continue to work hard, just continue to give it your best effort. Obviously, there's some stuff in sports that you necessarily can't take into regular
Yes.
life, like the physical part of it. But like, there's obviously lessons, and again, that's another thing that I love is just kind of like the lessons. Like, I feel like I could talk probably another hour or two on lessons
Oh
about
yeah.
like what sports does for people, but I
I
truly
agree.
think sports in itself changes lives, and it changes lives for the better for most people.
It
Obviously,
does.
you never want to see someone have a bad experience in sports. There's some of those stories out there, which is unfortunate, but there's, in my opinion, so many more positive stories about how sports can change someone's life. And it truly seems like swimming for you has not only changed your life, but also helped you grow to be the person that you are today and in the future.
Yes. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, my coaches especially, they pride into us take lessons out of everything that you do in life. You know, whatever it is that you're doing, there's a lesson to be learned within it. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, you got to look for it. It's out there. Like my high school coach, I was texting him actually, and I was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to be finally done with school. Like, no more studying and this and that." And he goes, "Well, just a little life advice here. You're still learning for the rest of your life." And I'm
Yeah.
like, it dawned on me. I was like, he's actually so much right.
Yeah. Which obviously it's nice not having classes, nice not having to study. Like, there's
Hmm.
obviously like other things, but at the same time, like, it's about like just continuing to learn. Like you said, continuing to take things away. And sometimes, like we talked about earlier, like the hardest sets, like sometimes those hardest sets, going through a little bit of a rough patch, going through kind of the ups and downs of athletics, can teach you more valuable lessons than, let's just say, winning a national championship. Obviously, you learn a lot of valuable lessons.
Yes,
Obviously, it's fun. Obviously, it's a great time. But sometimes the most valuable lessons are the ones that you learn through failure than learn through success.
I couldn't. Yes, I mean, I've learned most of my, not most, but a lot of the failures that I've accomplished. I learned so much more from that than the wins that I've done. You know, I've taken my losses and how I can improve on that to get to the next point. You know.
Yeah. But obviously, it's still fun to win, right?
No, yes, obviously.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that I'm one of those people. I'm sure you're one of those people. We hate to lose. We
Oh,
never want
yes,
to lose.
exactly.
It's that competitiveness part of it. But again, it's
Yep.
even if you do, even though if there's that difficult time, even if you're down, you still can take away those points to
Yep.
make yourself better, to also motivate yourself to get to that top of the mountain.
Mhm.
And you've been there. Hopefully, you can get back there. And I know that, again, we're kind of running on time, so I really want to end on with one last question.
Okay.
So, obviously, like you said, swimming's been a lot of your life, it's been a big part of your life. But like, why should someone give swimming a chance? Because I feel like it's one of those sports that one doesn't get the media attention for it,
Hmm.
obviously, like a football, basketball, stuff like that. But two is you see a lot of, at least in my opinion, you see a lot of swimmers that swim, especially in college, that kind of have a history, kind of have like a family history. Obviously, not every single person is that way, but usually, like if one person does it, kind of the like it's a family type sport,
Yes.
which obviously is a really good thing. But you don't really see a ton of people just joining swimming. Like, you don't see a lot of people just joining from basketball, from hockey. Like, for some people, and maybe in some areas, swimming is like the number one sport. But universally in the U.S., I think we can kind of agree swimming's probably not the universal winter sport
I agree.
as a whole. So,
Hmm.
like, why should someone give swimming a chance? Because I feel like once people give it a chance, once people kind of get past a little bit maybe of concerns or like, hey, I'm never going to swim because I don't want to do the early mornings. I don't want to do specific stuff. Like I feel like once they kind of get past that point or at least give it a chance, I feel like people will understand and want to swim more and want to swim as long as you have.
I mean, I would say for that, um, obviously, it's different for each person. I mean, just kind of preference wise.
Yeah.
But for swimming, I would say get in, try it, and I mean, you can always just try something. You can try baseball, try swimming, try football, and stick with what you enjoy,
Yeah.
But also, swimming is a big necessity, say, in anybody's life. You should know how to swim, for one.
Agreed.
And it's just amazing. Because for me, when I'm in the pool, I can just completely just zone out. It's my happy space.
Yeah.
I can go and just let loose.
Yeah, like any worry that you have, any
Hmm.
like issue you're having in life or anything that's just not going right in life, like you can just go to practice and just
Yes.
forget about it for
Hmm.
an hour and a half to 2 hours a day.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's also extremely difficult as well. I feel like swimming might not necessarily get that attention of how difficult it can be, but
Yeah.
it's also not easy. Let's just
No,
say
it's
the
not.
least, and you've experienced a little bit part of that too.
Yeah. It's not easy wanting to wake up in the morning. But like anything, if you want to be good at it, it's supposed to be hard, you
Yeah,
know. So if it's not difficult, then you're not doing it right, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Like why do it? Why do it
Yeah.
when it's not
Why?
testing you?
Yes. There's no point.
Exactly. I completely agree. But Andy, I really appreciate you joining. It's been a ton of fun. I felt like I've
Has
learned a
been.
lot about your journey. Obviously, like I said earlier, I do wish you the best of luck this year.
Thank you
I
so
wish you the
much.
best of luck the next couple of years. Definitely will be a fan of yours. Definitely will be supporting. I do really appreciate you joining. I know that obviously life starts to get really busy here shortly.
Hmm.
It means a lot that you're able to join. But one thing I always say to anyone that ever joins is if you ever want to come back on, would absolutely love to have you back on. I've absolutely no pressure to do so, but really hope it was worth your time. Really hope you had fun and definitely really enjoy this conversation. Like I said, good luck this year and good luck in the next couple of years. Hopefully, we'll be seeing you in the Olympic trials, and then hopefully, if those go well, hopefully we'll be seeing you in USA Swim Cup representing Team USA in 2028.
Sure. Hope so. Thank you so much for having me. Hope to be on in the future.
Absolutely, and that is a wrap to episode number 478. Thank you again to Andy for joining, and tune in to the next episode.